I'm Alexis, a consultant here at Valiantis. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 different ways that you can view your tickets as an agent in Jira Service Management. As an agent, your day-to-day work revolves around tickets, and knowing all the places you can access and manage them helps you work more efficiently. Some of these views even let you pull in tickets from multiple projects, which is incredibly helpful if you support more than one team or service. Before we dive in, here's a list of all the views that I'll be covering. I'll walk through each one and show you where to find it and talk about its configuration options and then point out any permission considerations that you need to be aware of. So we're going to cover queues. So inside of those there are 3 different views. We have list, board, and calendar. And then we have the space view tab. Note that when you see me call out space, JSM projects, the term projects itself has now been renamed to spaces. So there's going to be some areas that you're still going to see it say project settings and Atlassian documentation, but more likely right now you're going to see it say space settings or space updated within certain areas of the system. But you have your space view tab, and then 2 things that you're going to be very familiar with already with JSM are going to be filters and dashboards. With that, let's go ahead and dive in. So this queue view, this is the view most agents already know inside of your project. This has been the core way of finding and managing work items for most of JSM's history. Queues are managed by project space administrators, who they're going to be the ones who can create, edit, and delete queues. So by default, this is the main ticket view you'll see as an agent. Even though administrators can control the queue setup, you still have the ability to personalize what you can see. So for example, you have a search bar. Within the targeted JQL on here, you can narrow down further and filter for a specific request type that is within this queue. You can filter by a certain status, assignee. Let's say that in this general queue you wanted to see yourself, which up top will be the current user. You're going to be able to do that and it will filter down. And then you even have more filters such as looking for specific fields and then selecting that specific option for that. So you do have the ability to do that. Queues aren't just a single view anymore, because you may notice at the top this says list and there's a plus icon next to it. That icon means that there are additional views available inside each queue. Clicking on the plus sign is going to give us 2 new additional views, the board and the calendar view. So let's go ahead and view the board view first. So switching to the board view gives you a Kanban style board based on that queue's JQL. So you're not going to be able to have a JQL for the board, as all of these views that I will go through that are within a singular queue, those are going to be defined by the same JQL. But you still have the same familiar customization options, so you still have the ability to have swim lanes, you still can customize the columns, the card layout, card colors, quick filters. You're going to still be able to do those same. Again, these are only going to be able to be configured by project administrators. However, know that they are there. So like a Kanban board, we can add a sub-filter query, and then now we can add columns so we can map specific statuses to them. We can rename those columns. We can have swim lanes automatically set. The project administrators or the space administrators can create quick filters, card colors to identify certain work items on the board, as well as the card layout, so adding up to 3 additional fields on that card view. And within each one, again, you do have the ability to click in those, and within that, that's how you can have your own tailored view. But you're not going to be able to really customizably configure that as an individual agent. Lastly, on that queue view, we're going to add calendar. And the calendar view started off as a change management focus feature, but now it is available directly within your queue views. Again, only project space administrators can be able to pick which custom field dates act as the start and the end date. So you're not going to be able to add more than one date field to identify as the start and end. However, this is going to be really good for queues, for example, offboarding or onboarding, where you can have a specific calendar view for that queue. That way you're going to be able to see when on that list that ticket for when that person starts, or for offboarding when that is due by. So you're going to be able to have a really good calendar view for things such as calendar events that come up that you want to know at a glance rather than just looking at a list view and seeing dates. So that alone right there, that are 3 different views that an agent you can see tickets. However, we're still not done inside what you can look at inside the project. So in your project, you're going to see a little button here called Views. Note that in order for this, the space administrator must enable these types of views as well. But when we click on them, we are also going to be left with a list, board, and calendar view if enabled. And you might be saying, well, what makes this one different than the ones we just viewed? This is one of the spaces, and going forward, the rest of these views we cover, they're going to be multi-project viewable. But within your JSM project, you can now add multi-project views. So for example, this project's, the key for the tickets is going to start with AB. But you'll notice that in this queue, there are HD dashes. We have multi-project in this view. And note that this can only be customizable with a filter. So you have to create a filter, save it, and then that is how these are identified. So you don't get to be able to customize further than that. And unlike a usual list view, you're not going to have some of those customizations. So in the list view, you do have the ability to go and narrow down that targeted filter with an additional JQL. When you come to boards, so you're going to be able to have some quick filters, status, request types. In the calendar view, you're going to still be able to do those start and end dates. However, note that you're not going to be able to add multiple start and multiple end date custom fields. I would count this as 6 views so far, but since we already showed the list, board, and calendar view within the project, we're just going to count this as the 4th view of tickets that you're able to see. And note that within this, anywhere in JSM, the permissions still apply. So in this board, even though we have it set up to view multiple projects, if you don't have the ability to see the tickets from any projects added within that filter, you're not going to see those in here. So keep in mind that permissions always apply to what you are able to see. So I did say that within this view, it is powered by a save filter, which if we come into the views, we will see that we can't necessarily type in a filter. We can edit the filter, but it is powered by a save filter. So let's go ahead and check out our 5th view, which is filters. So coming down on the side, we're going to see filters right here. And if we click on search work items, this is where we can go ahead from the start and work on creating a filter. Or if you already have filters saved, you're going to be able to access those. So I'll click on multi-project filter, as that is the one that is driving that JSM queue. So filters, you're going to be able to write your own JQL. You can pull multiple projects or just one. Again, it is your personal JQL. You're going to be able to share it with others or just keep it to yourself. You're going to be able to customize which columns are displayed. So by clicking on configure columns, you can put for that what specific should appear just for this filter alone. So therefore, if there are specific columns that you want for specific fields to display, you can set those here in your filter to always appear. So no matter how many times you click refresh, those are going to be right there. And you're going to be able to save it for repeated use. You're going to always be able to access it. And filters, you can also have a filter subscription, where as an agent, you probably won't use it for every single day use. But let's say at the end of the week, you want to know how many tickets and count how many are open. You can subscribe to that filter and you'll be able to do a count and you'll be able to see stuff like that. So as an agent, you do have the ability to create your own filters. You can create as many as you want. So you do have the ability to see tickets from here. Note that within these, it's not going to automatically update. So right now, looking in this filter, if a ticket gets created while I'm looking at this, I would have to hit refresh for it to appear. It's not going to automatically update. But in the filter, you're still going to be able to access the tickets the same way. When you click on it, it's going to take you inside that project, and you're going to be able to view that ticket just like you would inside the project. And again, permissions still apply. So while you could put in this query multiple projects, unless you have permission to browse that project and view its tickets, you won't see any results from that list in that project. So that is view number 5. Let's get into view number 6, which is dashboards. So dashboards can also be found on the same section by scrolling down. Right under filters, you're going to see dashboards. So if we click those, you can see some dashboards that I already have created. So if I come in and click testing dashboard, for example, we're going to see a bunch of what is called gadgets. And in a dashboard, all these gadgets are powered by filters. So these dashboards are going to allow you not only to just see a list view of tickets, but you're going to be able to see visual data for your tickets. So right now we can see here that there are unique tickets and for how many has reported. So I can see here that myself, I have 78 tickets that are reported and are open. I have here in this chart for all work in this project that the filter is based on, there are 28 total issues in that project. And we can see here that open issues in ACP box, which is the project that we were looking at all of those views in, there are 65 open tickets. So right here we have 3 different projects counting data in this dashboard. And dashboards are going to be able to be for personal or for shared use, so you can create your own to use and share. However, dashboards also don't update in real time like filters, but you do have the ability to set them to automatically update every 15 minutes, or coming up you can refresh each individual chart by clicking the refresh button, or you can refresh the whole dashboard by clicking on the refresh right here. So while they don't update in real time, every time you do refresh the page or click those buttons, you will have a refresh of data. And you can customize the layout and reports to match exactly what you need. So right now these go all across, but you can have them in a 2-column view, a 3-column view. You can have smaller charts, so you can do multiple visual charts, and then you can have lists. This can really be tailored to exactly what you want. Note that for these dashboards, the person who is viewing this dashboard not only has to have access to view the dashboard, but they also need to have access to view the filters that behind them. And just like the last ones, permissions apply. Even if you give them access to the filter and dashboard, if there's certain projects that are in those filters that they don't have access to, they're not going to see the data for those tickets, but someone who does will. So just keeping in mind that you do have the ability to also utilize dashboards for a view, which that takes us to number 6 view. So, while the most common place you're going to work is directly inside JSM project queues, JSM gives you a lot of flexibility in how you view your tickets. So you're not just limited to a single approach. You can also mix and match these views to fit your workflow, preferences, and your team's needs. Finding the right combination can make a huge difference in how you efficiently work your day-to-day tickets. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you get the most out of JIRS management.